guys, my name is Iasmina and welcome back to my channel. So I'm still at my childhood house, as you can see by the background. Sorry about the mess. While I'm still here, I still wanted to make some videos about stuff, and I realized that I still have a lot of, well, pretty much all of my old notebooks and things where I used to write my earliest stories. Some of it is like journals, but a lot of it is actual, like, I did a lot of plays for school and my drama club that I wrote, and also, well, my first novels that I started in these notebooks. And I thought it might be fun to like go through them with you guys. I haven't seen inside of these in literally years, and I bet it's probably really cringy, obviously, because this is stuff that I wrote when I was maybe 13, 14, something like that. So this is a pile of stuff that I found that I know for sure has a lot of my old writing. So I think for starters, I'm not going to show you much of these, but these were my sort of journals that I used to take with me everywhere. And I mean at school, during class, I was one of these people that I used to write down in my journal, and I was definitely caught by teachers many times, and it was a bit embarrassing, but I really obsessed over writing my thoughts and like stuff I did in these tiny notebooks. Let me just show you. So like I had a lot of random stickers on it, and also like inside. So really nothing has changed. I still love like putting like stickers on my like sketchbooks and stuff, so nothing has changed in that. It's just like random nonsense that went on in my head when I was like 14 and in high school. So you can imagine the sort of stuff. Obviously I had a lot in here about my crushes, and also like being obsessed with music and like writing emo lyrics and random like inside jokes that, as I read back on it, honestly don't remember, but at the time I'm sure I thought it was a lot of fun. And oh my god, this is so cringy. I don't know how many of you will be able to understand this, but let me see if I can show you. But I used to like add little like emoticons to like show emotions like as I was writing in my journal. That's really cringy because obviously the words should be enough, but and they're like emoticons that we used to use in like Yahoo Messenger. So if you wrote like, you know, Colin and D, that was like a smiley face. But we used to write these in like normal text as well, and I guess that carried over into my journaling. Apparently I really liked Pete Wentz from Fall Out Boy. Oh, and of course, my #1 obsession at that age was Panic at the Disco. This was my BTS before BTS. Like Panic at the Disco was my shit at that age. Okay, this is another notebook that I only wrote one poem in. We had in Romanian class, so it's like, you know, like English class, obviously for Romanians, we had an assignment to write a poem, and I took that assignment to heart. I wrote my heart out in this long ass, like, almost novella length poem. It's very dark and very sad. And I remember reading it in class, and like everyone before me had read their, I'm not gonna be mean, okay, but they wrote some short, nothing sort of poems, and then I read mine, and I remember like the atmosphere in that room change as I read it. Everyone was kind of shocked because I don't think anyone expected me to write such a dark, deep, long poem. And I don't know what it was, but like I remember everyone just staring at me in shock. And my teacher was thrilled. Like I got like top marks for that assignment, and then she came to me and she said, you know, you should really consider joining like the poetry club or the writing club at the school. But I was so shy at that time, and I had really a lot of anxiety. And I said, no, I can't, like, it took a lot for me to read that poem, even in my class with the people that I knew and trusted. But I, like, at the time, I could not even imagine, like, reading it for other people. My teacher suggested, you know, like, entering it into, like, a poetry competition, but I never did. So the title is, like, The Room with the Black Walls. I remember being in a really dark time when I wrote this poem, and it's pretty much me feeling trapped in a room with black walls and like feeling like I can't free myself. I was pretty depressed at the time, although I didn't realize it. We didn't talk a lot about mental health growing up, and I didn't know what it really was. I knew I was sad, and I knew I was scared, and I felt trapped, and this poem was kind of like encompassing all of that. And yeah, everyone was pretty shocked when I read this poem, so I think it worked. But it was pretty depressing as well, so I don't know. Okay, this I remember. I actually showed this in one of my old videos, which I will link up here if you're curious. This was a random notebook that I used to write a lot of like notes and like world building for some of my novels. Initially I started writing like a Harry Potter fanfic, pretty much. I didn't know it was a fanfic at the time, but it was a fanfic. And then that slowly evolved into something more original, and then I started making up my own sort of magic systems, but it was so similar and based on the Harry Potter magic system that like it's completely unusable, obviously, but at the time I thought it was very clever. But I just wrote a bunch of stuff like a ring that makes you invisible. Much original. People that are born with the ability to transform into animals. A spell or a potion that transforms you into an animal. A white unicorn, which if you catch it, it's said that it will grant you 3 wishes. Giant insects. Brackets, bugs. Mirrors like walkie-talkies. That's actually... that's not that bad. I mean, kind of, but that sounds interesting. That could maybe work. Pterodactyls. What kind of magical world was I writing, honestly? Baxter Dart is the librarian. He is old, with a last spart of back hair and long nose hair and ear hair. He usually falls asleep all the time. He takes really good care of his books and does anything to recover them. So he was Filch. Again, very original. Objects talk and think and move on their own. Own spelled as one. But not all of them. Okay. When you're bored and lonely, you can always talk to a wise old chair or table or even a toilet. Okay, that's actually pretty funny. That would be pretty awful, but it's actually pretty funny. And I had so many spelling mistakes. I was literally 14 as I wrote this in English, so like even is spelled like I-V-E-N. Yeah, there's a lot of mistakes. But anyway, my brain was weird at that time. This is a play number 4, the end of the school year 2007. So this is one of the plays that I wrote for my school, like drama. Like we didn't have an official drama club in my so this is middle school. But we like to, like in English class, we like to do a lot of plays, and I loved writing plays. And this is one of them. It's called Something's Got to Give. This makes like no sense out of context, honestly. Let's see if I can find something funny. Mr. Money comes. Mr. Monet. Oh yeah, I remember making fun of this like name, like money as in Monet, but that is from the movie The History of the World. Have you guys seen that? The really parody movie. Oh, I used to be obsessed with that movie, and there was a character in there called Mr. Monet. That was very funny, and I remember parodying that character in here. Anyway, I'm not gonna read you this stuff. It's really cringe. It might have been funny at the time, but now it's obviously a bit cringe, and I'm not sure if we have like an actual recording of the play. I know some of them were filmed, but I don't know if this one is, so. Oh lord, okay, I remember this. So when I was a child, I used to really like making my own alphabets, and this is in my own alphabet. It was a really bad alphabet, okay? I was literally probably 8 when I made this alphabet. I'm pretty sure I can still read this though. I think this says, "Hi, I am Ronald Weasley." Okay, apparently I can't read the rest of it, but it is something with Harry Potter because I was literally obsessed. And this book is like full of like really bad Romanian jokes, I think, that I used to collect. So this was like my joke collection book, apparently. This is more of my own alphabet. So this I can read. This is Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. Oh, this is cute. It says, "Follow your dreams. Something I learned from Fred and George Weasley." Aw, that's cute. Okay. Okay, so these 4 notebooks are the 4 notebooks that I wrote. My first, well, I don't know if I should call it my first, but this was the first attempt at writing a novel. It was a YA contemporary. I didn't really know the genre back then, but it kind of evolved into that now that I know more about, well, books. I wrote this novel in these notebooks. It was 100% character based. I still remember each and every one of these characters. It had no plot. Like, it was just me discovery writing, but with no plot. Like, even as I was discovery writing, I do remember random stuff coming together in weird ways, because that's kind of how you write if you're a discovery writer. You sometimes random things that you didn't think at first would ever start connecting at some point. And I remember that happening in here, and I was very happy that it did. But this is like draft 0 of a novel that will never see the light of day because it had no purpose. But I do remember some of these characters still, and obviously I might reuse some traits of these characters in future novels, because they are still like really I still know these characters, as odd as that sounds. So this is the first one, because it says first sketch, notebook number 1. So this is the one where I started this book. Oh, I love this. Okay, so apparently I like started kind of editing it, or at least I maybe read back, because it literally says in brackets, this prologue sucks. Okay, well, it starts in Romanian, so I can't read you that, but maybe I can find the spot where I changed into English, because that might be interesting. The second one is also in Romanian. We're getting there. Oh, here, this number 3 is in English, so let's see where I did that. Because I remember there was a random spot. Yep. Okay. So I'm not sure how well you can see this, but it literally says, so first notebook number 1 and number 2 was in Romanian, and then all of this is Romanian, and then I randomly switched to English one day, and it says English rules, and I just carried on in English, and obviously I never switched back, and I've always written in English since, so that's kind of fun. I still have this, which is a Pirates of the Caribbean folder, which I think was stuff that I did for my creative writing class. So I think this was in high school. I took a creative writing class, and this class, I remember, was really helpful to me. I started writing like really young, and I'm really bummed. I don't know if I find, like, I remember the first story I ever wrote. It was a slapstick comedy about these 2 old guys that were just like falling. Like, I was really into like Stan and Brannon, like these old like slapstick comedy things at the time. I was young. I was maybe like 10 or 8, or I was really young, guys. And I remember being really bored one day on holiday with my grandma, and I just started writing this story, and I read it to her as I finished stuff, and she was like laughing. I remember that was the moment where I thought, as like a 9-year-old, you know, that maybe I should do this more often, that maybe I should write stories, because of her reaction, because she was like cry laugh. I don't know where that notebook is, and I hope I still have it. But I'm not entirely sure. But this is stuff that is from my creative writing class that I took during high school. And yeah, I remember that was very helpful to me, because it helped structure some of my writing. Because she showed us, the teacher, she showed us proper, like, you know, character sheets. So she printed us some proper character sheets. I obviously had done that before, but this was a more structured way of doing a character sheet, because I just wrote down a bunch of random stuff. But, you know, this is more structured, so, you know, what is their background, what are their physical features, what are their habits and traits and personality. And yeah, she just made us write short stories, and she critiqued our stories. I remember getting really good critiques, and I remember them, like, the class really liking, like, the stuff that I wrote. It was a good time. I learned a lot from that class. So I really recommend, if you, like, ever get the chance to go to a creative writing class, especially if you're a bit younger. I totally recommend giving that a try. It also helps like connect you with other writers in your area and stuff. It really helped just talking to other people, and also to like a teacher who could properly critique my work and point out some stuff that I was doing right and some stuff that I was doing wrong. So that was good. But yeah, that's everything that I found like right now, just as I was like rummaging through some of my old stuff. If you guys like enjoy this kind of stuff, I can definitely go through some of my old stories that I have on file, because that one I can do from home as well, from where I live now, because I have them on my computer. But you know, this isn't just to showcase like any sort of good writing. This is just to showcase like my journey to becoming a writer, and you know, how I started. And obviously everyone starts out writing really cringy stuff. But it is a start, and I just kind of wanted to show you guys that because I find it interesting. I find it nostalgic to look through some of this stuff, and I learned a lot writing in all of these notebooks and journals and stuff, and especially this first novel that I tried to write. I definitely learned a lot from that. So I think it's important to look back on this stuff every now and again and put things into perspective. So yeah, that was it for me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this nostalgic trip of mine, but hopefully it was interesting for you as well. It would be cool if you remember, if you could tell me, like, well, if you're a writer, of course, or even if you're not, if you've ever tried writing, do you guys remember, like, what was the first story you ever wrote on your own? So maybe not like as an assignment for school, but if you ever wrote something on your own, like, what was it? Do you remember anything about it? Because I think it would be really interesting to talk about this stuff, because I'm sure it's very, very different from person to person. But yeah, that's it for me today, guys. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time with a new video. Bye!